Yo, it's Cheesy here. I'm going to be explaining how to make a raid nuke team in the year 2024 and Google Slides, of course. But yeah, anyways, let's get started. So basically, I think super crit units are going to be the best nukers in the game. So we got War Fen on the left, Sunraku on the left here. Got Gabi Mario, Demon Lord Rimuru, Saber Altar, and Summer Miyu. Those are going to be all your super crit attackers in the game. I feel like they're going to hit the hardest. But everybody else here also can hit really hard because they have a bunch of just damage up in their kits. So you got Ilya, Miyu, Delta, Summer Bazette, Summer Riviera, and Halloween Valerie. And then you also have Shaltir. Now, characters with just like high modifiers, you've got Saiger Zero, Saitama, and Uzu. Those guys have like insanely high modifiers, so they'll just hit hard anyways. Now, so yeah, and then I'll just go on to like step 2 here. So for step 2, it's all about applying res down to the enemy before you switch characters. So basically, your first wave team is going to be all res down. Your second wave team is going to be all damage up. So whatever your first character was, let's say he was War God Fen, you're going to want Earth res down and physical res down and normal res down. So I'd probably pick Summer Rin and Luvia, Demon Lord Rimuru, because that res down stacks with Summer Rin and Luvia's res down. And then I'd also pick User Riha because physical res down. That would probably be the best loadout for War God Fen. I don't really know any other options, but yeah, that's just an example. Now, I put Sunraku and BF Mira over here because they have physical res down on their normal art. So like, there's budget options in this game. Like for instance, Starga Lisa has magic res down on her normal art. If you don't have anybody here on this list, you can substitute it out with like somebody's normal art. For instance, like Sunraku's normal art or BF Mira's normal art. If you don't have user Riha, yeah, use BF Mira's normal art because every bit of res down still helps. So yeah, on to step 3. For the third part, you're gonna want to pick a bunch of damage buffers for your nuker. So you have 1 nuker and 3 damage buffers on the second wave. So let's say my nuker is Sunraku. Well, I'm gonna want crit damage, so I'm gonna pick Hoka. You could do human damage, you could do physical damage, you could do fire damage. I'm gonna pick Summer Iris because she has a lot of arts damage up. And then I said Hoka already, but that's because he has a bunch of crit damage. And then let's do Momon because he has passive to the right of him, is a bunch of damage, and he has physical damage on his true art. So that would be my comp, and that's like 800 damage up. Step 4, we have what I call arts gauge meals. So basically these are units that can give everybody on the team a bunch of arts gauge, and that's kind of their only purpose. So we've got Shady on the picture on the very left, and she's got type 0, and Dignified Silence. That can give everybody 150 art gauge basically instantly, and that's her only job. Now, with arts gauge meals, you mainly want to give your second wave of units all of the arts gauge at, you know, whatever they're holding. So all this type 0 and Dignified Silence would go to the second wave right before I switch units. So that's kind of the point of arts gauge mules, and yeah. So for part 5 here, I'm going to be explaining how stuff stacks in this game. So on the left here, we've got Uzu and Amiya. So Uzu's actually just going to cancel out Amiya's physical res down buff. So Amiya's going to be completely useless here. So you have to use different types of res down. Like Jay has normal damage res down that will stack with Uzu's physical res down. And the same thing goes with damage buffs. So you've got Hoka and Ainz over here. Now Hoka is going to have this crit damage buff. Ainz is going to have this crit damage buff. Hoka is just going to cancel out Ainz's crit damage buff, and Ainz is going to be useless. So you're going to want to run different types of damage buff. So Summer Iris has arts damage, and Hoka is crit damage. Those will stack. And then for equipment, I have a showcase in the middle here. So right now we have So basically here I thought that Propagalia and Sacred Silent Treasure don't stack, but they actually do. And also I tested about physical damage stacking, and I was Natsu Scarf, Dotonrobi, and Nox, and for some reason one of the damage buffs didn't work. So I don't get how the damage buff stacking works and what doesn't work, but my guess is that if it's the same damage value, Dotonrobi is 60 physical damage buff and Nox is 60 physical damage buff. For some reason, because of that, they don't stack, even though one is team-wide and one is singular, but the Natsu Scarf will still stack. So basically, in other words, just try to use like different damage value increases is my best word of advice, but you can use the same type of damage. Here I'm going to be explaining my Raid Nuke team I used last time. So basically this boss takes more damage if he's poisoned, frozen, or diseased. I've got Dealrim and Amiya here for res down, Joker Celia for freeze res down, and Shady is my arts gauge mule. So swap all the units in there, give them the arts gauge, and then all the damage equips and everything. And yeah, I'll just let you watch what happens. And then yeah, I use a bunch of the arts gauge equipment so I can super art again. And the boss is pretty much dead. I'll just skip to the ending for you guys, but boom, 118 million just like that. So yeah, pretty easy.